Hello everybody, we are playtesting a new, and as it so happens the star of the show is going to be Gravelighter. It's called the Hand Sacrifice Loop. We want to later make the opponent sacrifice their creatures and then save the Gravelighter and bring them back up. And for the most part, we've been getting mana starved. Just 2 or 3 lands per match. This happened to me a lot last week too. Just way too many rounds in a row where that happened. Anyway, for the new people who don't know everything already, my name is Travis, you're at Tpull's Corner. Remember to like and subscribe. We'll talk more about that later, if I can remember. If I get it out of the way up front, then maybe I won't mention it again. I might forget again. Alright, what do we want to do? He's already got 3 mana. I'll use this. We'll go ahead and use all of our mana. We'll see if they're willing to get rid of what they got, or if they want to discard what's in their hand. They'd prefer to actually draw a card instead. We're already doing better with land than we have the last couple of matches. Okay, they make a choice again. They choose to lose a creature. What about now? You want to lose another creature? Now they're looking at their hand now. Ooh, Spirit Sister's Call. Okay, I wonder how many copies of those they have. They're slowing down to think anyway. Usually when you only have 4 mana, you don't have, 50 choices or 5 choices. They're looking at the enchantments like they want to destroy one. Do they want to prevent me from getting a 0/4 creature? You do have 2 creatures in your graveyard already. Okay, they want to destroy that one so they don't have to sacrifice that creature. Their 5th land was a tap land, so if they have another Spirit Sister's Call, they can't use it. That's excellent timing because we have 2 of these. If they're not going to give us land, we might as well use this and have them make even more difficult choices. Getting rid of 2 spells in exchange for me just having 1 spell is worthwhile, especially since mine costs 3 and theirs costs 6 altogether. And both of those could have caused me problems. So if they decide to save them, we'll pull the plug again. He just had another Twisted Embrace. Okay. Well, then we're not going to use Aim the Head right away. That's tap land, so we're going to have to get used to the idea of losing this particular copy of Gravelighter. And now we finally equalized our board state. I can't put Fake Your Death on Gravelighter. The sacrifice takes place instantly. But I can put down Geth. And we can use Fake Your Own Death on him if we need to. Well, we could have, except it used both of my black mana, so he's actually vulnerable. They give me both of the Mishra's Foundries already. What is he doing? Oh, he just wants to draw another card? But he's tapped out, so he doesn't really know what he's doing, so to speak. You don't know what you're doing because you don't understand. You're going to lose both of those now. So you threw away your card for no real good reason. It was a swamp and a restoration of a Ganjo, okay? I can't do both of those. So I guess we're just going to do this. We'll get rid of Gravelighter again. And then we just attack with Geth. Perfect. Okay, we save the Indoctrination Attendant because we're going to get Gravelighter back. We're going to get stuff back from our graveyard, and we're going to just increase everything that we're doing. And if these guys are going to do what they're doing, can I do that? Oh, it has. I have to wait till it's attacking. And now I can pump it up. It's down to a 1/1 because of Geth, Thane of Contracts. Other creatures get -1/-1. This is still an instant. We can return it to owner's hand if they try and remove it. They've got 3 cards now and they're doing nothing with any of them. Okay. Let's do a regular attack. If you're not going to do anything, I'm not going to do anything. I'm perfectly content. You stick with your 5 land. Yep. Return target permanent. And they just scoop. Okay. That was really the best play that they had out of all 4 cards, huh? Alright, it kind of sort of worked. We had more we were going to be able to demonstrate, but we needed them to put down another creature. So they must have run dry. Alright, we'll wait for the server to work, and then I'll go in and show you the entire deck. So, while we're waiting, I said I'd talk about subscribing and liking later, right? We've been putting out a video every day for the longest time. I probably should have kept track. I've been doing this for a couple of years, like two and a half years going on. There have been some interruptions. I didn't set out to create a record. I just do this for a hobby. But we have been doing a pretty good track record this last year. So, if you're relatively new, we've got a couple hundred videos there in the backlog on the playlist and everything. Got, I don't know, like a dozen different playlists, various themes and concepts. So go ahead and check them out. What in the world is going on with the server? Thank you. Did Wizards of the Coast move their servers to Jupiter or something? And so there's just, okay, the hand sacrifice loop, that's the name of the deck. Because we want to actually create a loop. And we'll show you. Alright, we start with Gravelighter. We don't really care about drawing a card if a creature died this turn. We will if we have to, but we usually want to save him to make sure we sacrifice a creature and make the opponent sacrifice a creature. I was going to make a different deck today, but I saw Loyal Gryff, and it reminded me of what I wanted to do with Gravelighter. Because with Loyal Gryff, when it enters the battlefield, you can return another creature you control to its owner's hand. So if we have a little bit more of a field on the board, besides just Gravelighter, we could put out Gravelighter, sacrifice whatever that third creature is. We could then put out Loyal Gryff and bring Gravelighter back up. We could leave Gravelighter down on the field, and since this has flash, as long as we have the open mana, we could maybe use it to save Gravelighter from being targeted for destruction the next turn, that kind of thing. Other things to help us out, we've got Light the Way, 2 copies. You can put a counter on something and untap it, so use it as a battle tactic to surprise the enemy when they're attacking. Or you can return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. So we could save Gryff if we wanted to, Gravelighter, or the Long Reach of Night. This is pretty good. It's either going to force you to sacrifice a creature or discard a card, and then you get a creature at the end of it. And whenever we want, we could just throw it back up and make them go through all those chapters all over again. So repeat value. For sacrificial fodder, we have Gnawing Vermin. When they enter the battlefield, target player mills 2 cards. When Gnawing Vermin dies, creature you don't control gets -1/-1, so that can be handy against Phyrexian poison decks with all their mites. The one ramp card we have, right, just in case we have a trouble with getting more lands, I just added this in. You can, when it enters the battlefield, you search your library for a basic plains card. So if we just get the 2 mana and one of them is white, we can go get the third one at least. So if we get mana starved, we can hit 3 at least if we can't hit 4. We've got Fierce Retribution, so a little bit of removal, destroy attacking creature. 3 copies of Fake Your Own Death, so this is basically to save the Gryffs and the Gravelighters. We've got 1 Sheoldred's Edict, so we can make them sacrifice a non-token creature, a creature token, or a planeswalker. Another good sacrificial figure here, Vengeful Strangler. We definitely want to sacrifice him if the enemy won't kill him, because then we transform it into the Strangling Grasp enchantment, get to attach it to one of their creatures, and they have to sacrifice a permanent. They don't have to sacrifice the permanent that's attached with the enchantment, but then that enchantment stays for the next turn, and they'll have to make that choice again. So most people sacrifice the creature to which the enchantment is attached. Unless it's something like maybe Sheoldred, and they think they can get more value out of saving it for a couple more turns. Okay, Loyal Gryff, of course, we can flash in. We've got 4 copies of Aim for the Head, so if we come up against Zombie Tribal, we'll be good. Otherwise, we're just going to exile the cards from their hand. We've got 1 copy of Geth, Thane of Contracts from the Phyrexian expansion. He's legendary, 3/4. Other creatures you control get -1/-1. This is kind of fun if... how do I want to put this? If we put out... If Geth is already out, and we put out Vengeful Strangler and the opponent has a creature, we can just immediately attach the enchantment to that creature. If he's got a 1/1 out, and we put out Gnawing Vermin, then the Gnawing Vermin immediately dies, and we get to do the -1/-1 in just a second because this guy's out. So depending on what the board state is and what we want to do, we might want to have him on the field or we might not. But he's got another special power. For 3 mana you can tap him, return creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield. And you can only activate it as a sorcery, but if we had to use our Gravelighter just to sacrifice something earlier, we could still get it back from the graveyard one more time and use it again. In the meantime, Malicious Malfunction. Ever since Phyrexia came out with all the 1/1 mites, if I've got a black deck, I tend to have at least 1 copy of Malicious Malfunction in my hand. And that way, we can not just kill the creatures, we can exile them. 1 copy of Foreboding Statue. This is kind of another way to help out with any mana starvation, just to add 1 mana of any color. Eventually, if you get 3 or more on it, then you actually turn it into the 5/5 Forsaken Thresher, which would be cool, but people tend to kill it before then. Indoctrination Attendant, also from Phyrexia, Toxic, 3/4. When it enters the battlefield, you may return another permanent you control to its owner's hand. So again, saving the Gryff or Gravelighter or the Long Reach of Night to reuse any one of them would be extra value. And if we do that, then we actually get the Phyrexian Might with Toxic as well. So we got a tiny bit of poison in the deck, but it's a side issue. 1 board wipe by invitation only to make them sacrifice a whole bunch of stuff if things get out of whack. We've got 1 Invoke Justice, which we could bring back the Gravelighter. We could bring back anybody. And we get to put counters on it as well. And Gix's Command, we have 4 choices, and we get to choose 2 of them. We're usually using it as a board wipe to destroy each creature with power 2 or less, and then adding in the 4th option, each opponent sacrifices a creature with the highest power among creatures they control. And that makes it effective board wipe sometimes. And finally, our ace in the hole, Eternal Wanderer, that no more than 1 creature can attack the Wanderer each combat. And then you can also create these Double Strike Samurais for 0. And you can blink out creatures for +1. And that blink makes some interesting things that we might be able to do with Gravelighter, as a matter of fact. So, you know, there might be a little bit of planning behind this deck. And then finally, the -4 for each player. You choose a creature that player controls. Each player sacrifices all the creatures they control, not chosen this way. So it's easy if we only have 1 creature, and they have more. What do we have for lands? We do have 2 Mishra's Foundries. We have 1 Field of Ruin, and 1 Uncharted Haven. To draw cards later, we've got 1 Fair Basilica and 1 Dross Pits. For maybe creature removal, we've got a Ganjo if we don't need it for a land, and we've got Takenuma, which we might use to get a creature back from the graveyard. So we don't want to do more special lands than that, because we don't want to have trouble drawing our 2 colors of mana. So that's the concept. The first match was pretty good. Pretty good demonstration. So let's keep going and see what happens. I've already had more than my fair share of land starvation tonight, so I'm hoping that part is over. I'm hoping we're done with that experience for now. And my opponent is Toasty. Toasty or Toosty? And they're already looking at what we got. They get rid of the Griff. Well, I think that was the only thing they could get rid of, yes? Out of that particular card. Toxic 1, okay. They're just going to sacrifice it. We'll get rid of Light the Way. We'll also make them exile what they've got. You're not the only one who has hand destruction, buddy. What are their choices? They got rid of Disfigure and Bonepicker Scourge. And they just put out another flyer, huh? Didn't you know what I had already? Okay, that was fun. Let's see. We don't want them to have anything around to sacrifice, so we'll just exile the Scythe. I didn't have a non-land, non-token permanent to sacrifice. I don't have a creature on the field, so I can just decline that. And we're done there. That's kind of a waste. Resolve, decline. I don't lose anything for either of those 2 chapters. Vraska.
Death is obsolete.
I think you need to sacrifice a Planeswalker.
The downtrodden rise together.
Okay, we kind of ran out of ammo if we don't get one more land. Let's go ahead and make them exile what they got. It's only 1 card. It was a Bilious Skull Dweller. Okay, I'm not sure if that was the best. Ah, really? I got 3 of them. That was not planned. Let's draw a card. Okay. I guess we'll take black. So I cycled through my land. So I guess for maybe the malicious malfunction, I should have just held on to it longer. Let's go ahead and do this.
I'll make the most of the little time I have.
We can create a double striker.
We can win this together.
They're going to hit me with the toxic? They don't seem to understand I have double strike. Let's see. Sacrifice the token. And now, let's see. Return the card under at the beginning of the player's next end step. So I'm going to do my own. At the end step, it comes back. Let's go ahead and put out Foreboding Statue too. And since the creature did die, I get a card draw out of it. What fun! I don't know why. Are you not doing the math? Are they just giving up? They might just be giving up. Okay, let's go get a planes. The computer froze because that's when they chose to quit. Okay, they gave up the ghost. So, kind of worked. Come on, server. You can do it. You can do it. Give me a D card. Watchful Blister Zoa. I was thinking that was Blister Oza. It's Blister Zoa. Okay, that's a mouthful. We're going to keep on going. 2 in a row. I'm not sure if people have noticed over the last few, ever since Phyrexia came out, I've been keen to note about the potential impact on the game of the Phyrexian Obliterator and the other Phyrexian horrors. So I haven't just been doing damage spells. I've usually been finding an alternative way in each of the decks to handle something like that comes up. And in this case, I don't know if you'd call it sacrifice tribal, but that is our strategy. We want to sacrifice stuff. I don't think it matters what land goes out first. We don't have a lot of basic planes, but we have enough, so even if the farmhand came out later, still pretty sure we could find one. Let's not block it. We'll just put out the tap land. And we're going to fake the death so we can get a chance at one more planes. Just make the death mean something. They shouldn't want to use destruction on it. I didn't even block it last time, right? Interesting. We're doing a little equipment deck with stuff from Innistrad. Okay, we get it back tapped. We get to go thin out our deck with another planes. Plus we get a treasure. Okay. Now what do we do? I think we just make everybody sacrifice. Auto pay. That is our only board wipe. We may be in trouble. They just got more stuff, don't they? Do you like what you have on the field, or would you prefer to keep your cards? I predict they will discard a card. Okay. Fine. Phyrexian Vindicator. Do they discard their other card? Yes, they do. Okay. That's a creature. Let's bring the permanent back. Let's make them choose one of the two creatures again right away. We knew they'd choose that one, didn't we? That's a problem. Here we go. That's what I wanted. Non-token creature. That's what Sheoldred's Edict is there for. Alright, so we're hanging on by a thread. We can return another permanent to owner's hand, so we're going to return Long Reach of Night again. Hope they don't have something that flashes in. Artillery Blast. Okay, so we'll flash in the Griff. We'll return the Attendant. Made them waste their spell. In the meantime, when it enters, we bring the Griff back up, and we get a Might out of that. So we actually got an additional 1/1 Might. How about those tokens? And I think they forgot we have this card. What color do we need? I guess black. Seven points of damage and three more poison tokens. Sweet. They keep what they got in their hand. Let's go ahead and mill them for 2 then. Ooh, we got rid of Elish Norn. And who uses Incriminate right now? That's kind of weird. At this rate, we'll get them to 0 life at the same time as we give them 3 poison tokens. Oh, I think you done messed up. Oh, no, I messed up. Elish Norn stops that stuff. It stops all the entry-level effect type stuff. That's okay. We got lethal. Elish Norn always messes me up. Give me that Howling Moon enchantment and Elish Norn. Give me the green-white deck. And give me creatures. I'm going to make a deck, right? When I get Elish Norn, I'm going to make a deck with Elish Norn. I'm going to make a green deck and a green and white deck. And I'm going to have some creatures with Ward in it. So between Elish Norn, Howling Moon, and Ward, we are going to confuse the heck out of people. We just won 3 in a row. I picked a good time to start recording. I did some initial playtesting and it wasn't going the way I wanted. And so I got rid of a couple of the more expensive white spells and put in a couple of 1-drops. And that's turned to even it out. We're down to, I think, 2.9 average mana cost right now. Cheapies come out. Alright. We'll put out our tap lands for now. We've already got enough on turn 5 for Gix's command. We didn't put anything in to destroy artifacts. It's a +2. Okay. Let's put down this. Do they want to attach it right away? We can't really block with Mishra's Foundry if they do. After all the land starvation, you're going to give me 6 lands already? 4 spells and 6 lands? Yep, they go for that. Let's make the trade. Okay, 7 lands in 4 spells. Cute. Yep, they're just going to use that flesh cutter each time. It's a pain in the butt. I don't think I used Mishra's Foundry on it. We're going to wait. They've got 5 cards. 6 mana, 4 cards. They should use... There we go. Okay, I have to get rid of the 4-power one. Resolve, pass, there. 2 poison. Gix's command. Destroy each creature with power 2 or less. Each opponent sacrifices creature highest power. Oh, that had first strike on it. I messed up. I messed up with the block. Well, it is a Phyrexian poison deck. And the one thing that I'm missing is something to take out artifacts. So they kind of have the perfect hand against my particular deck. And my regular conspiracy theory is if you're playing with mostly Phyrexian cards, you are going to lose because the game rigs things. And talk about, you know I talked about being mono-starved all during the playtesting? 4, 5, 6 regular spells and 8 lands. This is fair. Doesn't matter. Because the might can't block, so they can just attack us with what they got, and they'll get me for the final point of damage. Yeah, thanks for the 8 lands and 6 spells, Magic. Because the Phyrexian Poison decks really need the extra help. Earlier tonight it was they gave me 2 lands and put me up against mono white Phyrexian Poison. So, evidently I haven't had my quota of that. But I hadn't had a flooding out with this deck yet. After all this time I was thinking of adding more land. I guess they showed me. And I don't have a lot of these. I only have 2 copies, I think. And they gave them both to me up front. Cards that are only useful later in the game. Whatever. This is as many journeys. Oh, they missed the land. So did we. 3, 6, 7. Missed a land drop. Went from flooding out to missing a land drop, just like that. Another Azusa's Many Journeys. Well, you're going to miss that one too. And no land. It would be nice not to be treated like a yo-yo by Arena and go starvation, flood, starvation, flood. But we did win some in a row, didn't we? Alright, let's start with Long Reach of Night. I'm assuming they can get rid of a land card. They get rid of a counterspell. They didn't have the second blue mana anyway. Discard again. No, they sacrifice. Interesting. Okay, let's get rid of Fang of Shigeki. Oh, I don't have the right color mana either. Okay, I guess we're going with land destruction or hand destruction. This is a very frustrating hand. Okay. I don't know why you had to do that. Why would you play that right then? I'm not sure that he knew what discard. Maybe he thought I was going to look at his hand and choose the discard. Okay, so he gets rid of the other Gaia's Gift and Bite Down, which is fine. And let's go ahead and use this to return this up into my hand now. They counter the spell. Okay, that was the wrong move. Because... Oh, no, wait. How do we want to do this? That one. Let me just do this. And now we'll do that. Return permanent owner to permanent hand. That fizzles that spell, and I was planning to sacrifice Gravelighter anyway. For some reason, they want to hold on to their Death Toucher. Alright, we finally cleared the board. If that's a creature, they're going to have to hold on to it for a turn. And we can now cast anything we want. So we just wait. Oh, it's just land. Excellent. Now we have a creature. And we have an attacking land creature. I have all the mana I want finally. And I'm still alive. And now, we just take a leisurely stroll with poison. Continue our leisurely stroll with poison. I'm just going to kill you with poison. That's my plan now. I've turned my deck somehow into a Phyrexian poison deck. And I'm going to beat you with the one poison card I have. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Too easy. So close. You're so close to dead already. What do I want to do to you? We want to do this for starters. Discard a card. Discard a card, please. There we go. Holding on to an extra land. We want you to sacrifice a creature token. Wait. Oh, that doesn't count as a token. I messed up anyway. I was going to have to cast Gravelighter. But, oh well, you didn't wait around for it. Sorry, I'm supposed to be saying they now. There was a YouTube comment that said, how do you know if it's a guy? I can't tell anymore. I'm just used to defaulting to that growing up. They taught us that in grammar school. But times change, and it should be they. So I'm trying to cultivate that habit. So I'm going to choose. Okay, let's go in and show you the entire deck. Bear with me as I develop these new habits. I'm normally an introvert. I was brought up in the late 70s and 80s, and that's where I learned my rules of grammar and English. And 2020s are definitely a different era with different social rules. And I'm still learning them as I go. Okay, so we didn't get to use the Eternal Wanderer that much, but the part that I did, I loved. I like the synergy with this deck and being able to blink out the Gravelighter, so I think that's a good choice. Gix's Command is awesome. I mean, I don't know if I should have another card in there or not, but I don't want to take out Invoke Justice, even though it didn't come up this time. It was really nice. By Invitation Only is awesome. And you notice I don't have a ton of removal, right? I've got a couple of -1/-1 kind of removals there. I've got the one Fierce Retribution. I've got the one Sheoldred's Edict. And then we've got the one board wipe. And technically Gix's Command I consider to be another board wipe. Now the rest of it, so that's 7. That's kind of light and cheap on removal. But we do have the possibility of doing the -4 for the Eternal Wanderer. And for a bunch of creature threats, we have all these combos that center around Gravelighter and getting to reuse him. Whether we do Fake Your Own Death on the Loyal Grith, or use Light the Way to return Long Reach of Night back up to our hand, or even just return a Gravelighter up to our hand. It's a pretty good kind of... Oh, I should include for 8 for removal Malicious Malfunction. So still kind of light on the number of removal cards total. especially for black. Usually, if I'm playing black, I'm usually tending to put at least 3 chunks, meaning 12 cards of removal in the deck. But I think with my focus on sacrifice there, I think I've got enough alternative versions of sacrifice that I don't need actual destruction cards. So I'm kind of happy with the deck. I think it's a good competitive thing for the current meta environment where we have to worry about things like the Phyrexian Obliterator, where we don't really want to do damage to the cards. But if you're looking for a way, if you're tired of getting confronted with Sheoldred after Sheoldred and Phyrexian Obliterator after Phyrexian Obliterator, and targeting these things or dealing damage to them comes with its own negative consequences that are too much for you to handle, this deck might work out for you. So leave me a comment. Let me know if anybody tries it, if you like it. And in the meantime, before I forget the last time, like and subscribe. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.